is now in session.
Good night.
Welcome everyone to another episode. I think this is 8 of our podcast. And today I want to free some people. And this may be an uncomfortable conversation and the hard truth that you may have to face. Well, you may be the person that hears this, has to hear this, or has to tell someone this and come to the reality of this. And that is, I love you, but I can't help you. You have to know your limitations, and you also have to respect another person's limitations. What do I mean? A lot of time we gauge people's love for us on their ability to handle our situations. Can you handle our traumas and triggers, our toxicity? Can you be the person that, that I go to for this? I'm hurting. Can you, help me? Can you be an ear and stuff like that, right? And sometimes, yes, we have to be an ear for people. Our loved ones, the family, even strangers at times, depending on the situation. We have to be an ear. We can support, but you have to know your capacity. And you have to also, if you are the person going through, you have to respect and be cognizant of another person's capacity and be considerate. So even if you don't know their situation, you could say things like, hey, before I just dump this on you, check on them and see how they're doing. Be like, hey, how are you doing? Do you have the capacity to handle this right now? I need some prayer. I need this. I need that. Can you handle this right now? Is this a good time? And don't take offense to say, no, not right now. I can't handle it. And then you, as the person that people go to, have to know when you are at your limit. Every time you can't stretch yourself. And sometimes stretching yourself to help them isn't the best thing. What do I mean? You're not equipped to handle every situation everybody deals with. You're not equipped. There's some stuff that you're not equipped for. Even if you would love to be able to be the person that helped, there's some stuff you're just not equipped for. Or there may be some seasons or times when you have your own situation where you're at capacity, you're at max capacity, and it's okay. And as a person going through, you have to hear this as well. There are some people that are not equipped for what you have going on. No matter how big or small it may be, they just may not be equipped. And that does not mean that they don't love you. They can love you from the moon and back, but they just may not be the right person. They may not be equipped. They may not be capable or have the capacity. And we can't always expect or ask a person to stretch when they are already possibly being stretched thin. We can't expect or ask them to stretch even more, because if you stretch something too much, it'll tear. So now you end up with two broken things. Because if they get broken by trying to help you, they just reach that point to where I can't handle this anymore. It's too much going on. Now they're broken. Now they're going to give you advice or wisdom or whatever out of their brokenness, which isn't going to help fix you. If you put a broken band-aid on a cut, the blood is just going to seep through. And it's going to be for nothing. That's how it is when you overstretch a person to the point to where they break. Or if you're a person that's doing the stretching, you may be that band-aid and you're stretching yourself. You can't contain that. And it is okay for you to say, hey, I can't help you with this, but I'll pray. Sometimes that's the best thing that you can do is pray and guide them in the direction of someone that can help and that does have the capacity. There are professionals for this. There are people with greater capacity. Sometimes they need to go to a pastor. This is why I advocate for people to have their own pastor when possible. It ain't just about listening to a sermon on Sunday and going to church. No, there are pastors and ministers at local assemblies that are equipped to handle these things. There are people who have the grace to handle these different things. Your cousin who loves you to death may not be graced to handle your marriage problems. They might not be graced to handle the abusive relationship that you're going through. They just may not know what to say. Your sister may not be able to handle the fact that you just lost your niece. That doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. She just isn't graced or has the capacity to help. People, family, and being blood and being close does not equal grace to handle everything. Sometimes you have to say, I I don't have it. I don't know what to do. But best I can do for you is point you in the direction of someone that can. And now here's the thing. Here's the hard thing too. If you're a person and you're at capacity, or if you don't have the grace or know how, and you point them into the direction, it is now on them to do what they need to do. It is on them to get the help that they need. And if they decide to not go with that, even if they don't want to go to the specific person or place that you point them to, if they don't take it upon themselves to go and get the help that they need, you have to wash your hands of it. You have to take your hands off of it. And also put up that boundary. Hey, if you're not going to go and get the professional help, don't come back to me with it. Because it's not fair to you for you to be able to point someone in the right direction and they forego all of that professional help and come right back to you and dump that problem back on you that they refuse to go get it fixed. What would be my capacity, right? Here's another example. There are some things, for example, if your cousin came and had half her leg cut off in a saw accident and is hanging on by a thread, you love them to death, but you're not equipped. They wouldn't come to you for that. They broke their arm playing outside or whatever. They wouldn't come to you for that. You love them to death. If you could fix it, you would, but you don't have the capacity or knowledge or know how to do it. So, what role do you play in that situation? They come to you because they need assistance getting to the help. Sometimes your only role is to be the assistance to the help. You're the ride, you're there. You may sit with them at the place or whatever, but your role is to transport them or point them in the direction of the help. Call 911 if need be or whatever. If your house is on fire, you're not going to call your auntie to say, hey, come get me out this fire, come put this fire out at my house. No, you're going to call the people that specialize in this. You're going to call the right people. So it's the same way with our emotional problems, our mental problems, our relational problems. That does not mean our family has the capacity to help. Our loved ones, our friends, they just don't have the capacity sometimes. And if they tell you no, they don't have it, you have to respect that. Respect that. It's okay. They don't love you any less because they don't have it in them to help you with your situation. They don't love you any less. So don't put that weight on them. And the same, if you're the person, that doesn't mean you love them any less because you can't help them, because you don't have the capacity to help them. You don't love them any less. You can love them and say, hey, I love you, but I can't help you with this. And depending on how they respond, now you have to govern yourself accordingly. You have to govern yourself accordingly. Because yes, there are some times where you got to stretch yourself and be there in the moment or whatever, but sometimes, no. And some stuff, it stretches temporarily. And once it's stretched, it doesn't go back to how it used to be. Some people, they get exposed to certain things. Now they don't go back to how they used to be before they stretch themselves to help or be there. Now they're more broken. Now they're damaged. Now they're worn out because they were never meant to stretch that far. We say stretch and sacrifice like it's an infinite thing. No, sometimes stretching and sacrificing is finite. There should be a point where, hey, it's not meant for me to do this. Stretching and sacrificing isn't an infinite resource for people to pull from to fit their needs. I'll say it again. Stretching and sacrificing isn't an infinite resource for people to pull from to fulfill their need. Sometimes you got to know when I've sacrificed enough, I've stretched enough, and you got to stand on that regardless of what people say. Don't let nobody manipulate you or talk you into going beyond what you can do. Because 9 times out of 10, that same person that asks you to stretch can't fix you when you're broken. They don't have the capacity for you. So monitor your stretch, monitor your sacrifice. I love you, but I can't help you. I love you, but I can't do that. And that does not diminish my love for you. They may tell you they love you, but they can't do that. They love you, but they don't have the capacity. They love you, but they can't sacrifice or stretch themselves anymore. And you got to respect that. If you love them, you have to respect that. I know your situation is dire to you. I know your situation is rough. You're in the throes of your emotions. You're in the throes of that situation. But still, I know is a no. Stand on that. Seek God. Ask God, is it for you to step in? Is it for you to sacrifice? Is it for you to stretch? And sometimes his answer is no. Because sometimes they need to go through, sometimes they need to figure out a different way. You need to get out the way so that God can do what he needs to do. Especially if they're not going to God first. Now, it's one thing if they don't know how to go to God. But it's another thing. Because sometimes we can't just tell people to go pray, to go read the Bible, because they don't understand what they're reading. And they don't understand how to pray. They don't know how to flesh that out. So sometimes, every time that we say, oh, you just go pray, just go talk to God, they don't know what that looks like. So sometimes that's not the best solution or answer. It sounds good, but they don't understand that, have the understanding. But if it's a person that does understand and know what that looks like, they need to go and seek God. So if you're a person that's exhausted all the time, or you're at your wit's end, I really want you to think about this. I really want you to think about this. And it may be hard and uncomfortable at first, but I want you to realize that it's okay for you to say, I love you, but I can't help you. So that's what I want to talk about today. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, let me know in the comment section below. Or if you want to book a one-on-one session, you can email me at therapysessions@gmail.com. That's THEREAPY sessions, SESSIONS @gmail.com. Book a one-on-one session if you want to talk about this. If this is you that this pertains to, if you need a safe space to talk, need some spiritual guidance and wisdom, book a session. We can get you situated. So that's today's video, guys. Thank you all for joining me, and we out.
Your therapy session is now complete.
know life ain't always fair.